people. I just tried to make a video, and I realized excuse me, you're falling. I realized halfway through that I wasn't gonna end up, but I still kept talking. So I'm gonna try to remember what I was saying then. I know for a fact that I want to say this. So a lot of people make rant videos, and I understand that a lot of those rant videos get a lot of hate. But as ranting being something I can do very, very well, we're gonna do this a little bit different than most people do. We're gonna do it in a humorous way, in a nice way, kind of. But I do like talking, and I do like arguing, and I've been told that I could be a good lawyer. So we're gonna put this to the test, you guys. Today we're gonna talk about people at school, not just teachers or anything, just people in general, just school students. That's what we're talking about. That's good. Students, all students, college, middle, kindergarten, elementary, high school, mainly high school because I'm high school. Anybody who has learned something ever, and anyone who is going to learn something in the future. So that literally means 0 to max, as high as you can, right? No matter your age, you are learning something. It's pretty standard information. If you did not know that, you just learned something. You are always learning. Forever. Not even, when you leave school, you may not be formally sitting down, listening to a lecture, listening to a class, listening to your teacher talk, listening to your teacher not teach, listening to him talk about politics or something because your stupid table partner got him talking on the wrong topic. That's a subject I'm gonna hit. Not politics, table partners. Just anybody ever. You've learned something. And what is the most common thing to do when you're learning something? This is not factual. I have not fact-checked this. But a lot of people complain. When you have to learn something, especially in school, and you're told how to do something, and you're told how to do something better, or you're told about something, especially when homework, quizzes, tests, people complain all the time, constantly. And that gets really, really, really on my nerves. So I'm not perfect. I'm literally complaining right now. It's literally the whole entire purpose of this entire video. So I don't want you to take this as me being super hypocritical. Take this as advice. And if it's dumb advice, you don't have to follow it. But if it's good advice and you're like, oh, that's good advice, then you can follow it. Comment down below. Hey, that was decent advice. I'm gonna follow it. We're gonna use me as an example. I have been homeschooled from birth until this year. Okay, so from preschool to freshman year, I was homeschooled. I did school at home. I had my own schedule. I did work through the summers because my schedule sucked. Well, the schedule itself didn't suck. My self-discipline sucked. I could wear pajamas. I could do it in my bed. I could do it on the couch. I could do it outside. I could do it on vacation. I could do it at the beach. It doesn't matter. I was doing my school whenever, wherever, however. It did not matter. Okay? I did complain sometimes, occasionally. In literature, my literature book, the ones that we used were very, very confusing. And they didn't make any sense. Because, the test was over, the whole unit of stories. It was, little parts of books, little, story cutouts from different books. And they were put up into chapters, into categories, by topic, justice, freedom, random junk. Not junk, just random stuff. And they're separated kind of weird, and then you have to, you would read the one, and then you answer the couple questions at the end, and then you read the next one, you answer the couple questions, over, the course of, a week, and then after, a week, you would take a test on all of that, but it expects you to know and there was, poems and stuff in there, too. It was, 10 stories or something, and then, 8 or so poems, and you have to know who wrote which one, something about the author, because there was usually meet the author type thing. Know something about the author, know something about each character of the thing, know what happened in the story or something to make sure that you knew it. It was just very, 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 very detailed, and it was just above my level of understanding. Anyways, I did complain. I'm not saying I never complained. But I had it good. Right? And everybody knows. Like, all the public schoolers, when I say that I was homeschooled, like, when I started going to school and I told people that I had been homeschooled, everybody's like, what are you doing here? Like, go back. You had something good and you squandered it. And I was like, it was good. And for some people, it really, really does work. But for other people like me, who has very, very, very little self-discipline, and will easily, very, very easily snooze my alarm at 5:30 when I get up to go to school, just as easy to not do school when you're homeschooled. Of course, I did work weekends, and then I'd have to work. I didn't have fall break. I didn't have spring break. I didn't have summer break. I basically did school all year round for the entirety of preschool through first grade. Like, I literally finished, not first grade, freshman year. I literally did freshman year until a month and a half before sophomore year. So, there's that. So, when people talk about public school, I do understand that it's hard. I go to a private school, which is in between the two. It's like public school, but very, very chill. Like, when you ask to go to the bathroom, it's usually a yes. There's no hall passes or anything. It's just like, hurry up. Depending on the person, obviously, if you've gone to the bathroom 7 times in the 1 hour class, no. But like, there's different excuses and stuff, but like, it's very, very chill. I asked to go down to the office today, and she was like, yeah, go down to the office. There was 0 questions asked. I needed an ibuprofen. She didn't ask any questions. Literally so chill, okay? Obviously, public schools are different, and public schools are a lot harder, especially on Christian people, just because they are such a bad environment to put a bunch of teenagers together and then expect them to talk in a way that is respectful. Anyways, but everybody complains all the time about it, literally everything. And I get that it's harder than homeschooling, but I don't complain that much. I don't think I complain that much. Now, of course, you're kind of mute to your own complaining, and I understand that 100%. But like, everybody in class will talk about, oh, we have a test today. Oh, we have this today. Oh, we have that today. Oh, this teacher's awful. Oh, I hate this teacher. And like, literally, I had somebody tell me, somebody that I don't even know very well. Of course, it was a middle schooler, and they have no filter. But no offense to middle schoolers. But literally tell me that one of our teachers was a rat, and that she hated her guts. And I'm like, why? Number one, why think that about her? Because she's actually a really nice teacher. Why think that? But mainly, why say that? So, like, a lot of people find it very, very difficult to enjoy school. I'm trying to get to a point. I swear I'm trying to get to a point. You guys, I'm rambling so bad. There's some people that find it very, very difficult to enjoy math. And I understand that. Math is my worst subject. Of course, it's an 86, and so it's not like I'm failing or anything. It's a B. But, like, there are certain subjects that people just don't like. I've had people tell me that they hate history, which is kind of weird to me that you would hate I'm wearing a bodysuit tomorrow. It's kind of weird to me that, like, people would hate history. I mean, it's not, like, my favorite subject, but it's kind of, like, passive. Anyways, but, like, there are certain subjects that people just very strongly dislike. But get over it, mainly. I'm going to go through kind of a list. I'm going to go through my subjects and just, like, explain why you should like them, kind of. Basically, kind of. So, when you're doing something like history, or, like, in fine arts, we study artists. Not every week, but usually, like, once a week, there's an artist, like, this week is Van Gogh, and you kind of, look over that person's, like, life. We would usually watch a video. Of course, the Van Gogh one was kind of elementary level because he was a very troubled man. And our teacher, after the video had kind of explained, like, all of the troubledness, in a very mature and contained and respectful way, which I very, very highly appreciated. She's very, very good at that, like, explaining everything. But, like, in classes that involve history and the past mainly, I have U.S. history, Bible history, and fine arts. those are what I'm going to consider for the history thing. But, like, learning the past is very, very important. And I know it's super cliche and it's super, like, what's the word? The cool word? Cringy. I'm starting to remember what cringe was. That's how out of it I am, guys. Anyways, so, like, history is very important just because it can repeat itself, and we've seen it repeat itself. I'm going to give an example that only mainly Christians will understand just because of, like, the context of it all. But in the Bible, Paul writes, there's a book of the Bible called Galatians. Paul is writing a letter to the people of Galatia. Galatia is what it's called, right? I think. I'm not an expert, chill. He writes a letter, and he's like, there's these people, they're kind of in your circle, and they're telling you Jesus and, right? You need to be saved, Jesus, and to do a couple other things, and, like, be good, and do these works, and follow the law of the Old Testament that was impossible to do, and you have to follow Jesus, and do this other stuff. And basically the entire letter is just him saying how wrong that is, and that if you could earn Jesus's my goodness, if you could earn salvation, if you could earn your justification, that's what I was looking for. If you can earn your justification, if you can make yourself made right with God, then Jesus died for no reason. Zero. And because it's not possible, that is why he had to die. And that's basically what it explained. Now, fast forward, and this is something that I thought, this is not something that my good grief, this is not something that my Bible history teacher really, like, incorporated. This is not something that he had meant to point out, but he did. In our Bible history books, we are going through the Reformation, and in the Reformation, there are, the Protestant Reformation. That is when the Protestants, I say the Protestants, the Protestants, they realized, that's John Calvin, John Wycliffe, Martin Luther, Ulrich Zwingli, all of these figures that most of you have probably never heard of, they realized there's these other people, Catholics, Roman Catholics, that are saying, guess what? Jesus and indulgences. And I'm trying to remember. I think they had 7. Oh my goodness, what is it called? They had 7 things that, like, you had to do. Communion, or the Eucharist, communion, and then baptism being 2 of them. There was a bunch of other ones. There were 7 somethings. I don't remember what they're called. Sorry, I'm not an expert, you guys. I'm a sophomore. Basically, the Roman Catholics were saying Jesus and this other stuff works, and basically these guys, the reformer people, they had to tell them, you can't really do that because you're not perfect and you're gonna screw up, and that's why Jesus had to come in the first place. So, like, history does repeat itself very blatantly and obviously and horribly most of the time, but it repeats itself. And especially when it comes to, it's gonna be, again, a super, like, Christian topic, but especially when it comes to sin. Sin is in our human nature. It is going to repeat, right? You are going to sin again and again and again and again. So, like, learning about history may not 100% make it for sure that it will not repeat itself, but you will know when it happens. You will be able to put the connection together before the Reformation, and wherever my Bible is over there, the Reformation and Galatians, right? You will be able to put those 2 together, right? So, like, learning about history, studying history may give you dates and dead people, is what my teacher says that history classes usually are, but, like, it may give you the information about a certain time period, or U.S. history, about U.S. history. It may give you these certain details that you need to know, but also on a grander scale, it is teaching you how to study history, how to look at history. We are looking, on Thursdays, we are looking through, in Bible history, we're looking through Revelation, learning how to read apocalyptic scripture. Yes, apocalyptic. Apocalyptic means unveiling. It doesn't mean the end of the world. It means unveiling. Revelation means revelation, right? how to read this apocalyptic scripture, how to understand it, because it's basic. It's kind of like hallucination, right? How to read it, right? How to learn about it. So history is teaching you how to study history, how to connect the dots. Sorry, I talk with my hands a lot. I've been in my phone has like a grid on its camera, and I've been like in this grid this whole time. It's funny. But like, it's teaching you how to learn and how to understand when you want to learn about something different. So if I was interested and wanted to go look at Rome, the history of Rome, right, I would know how to look at it and how to learn about it and how to start thinking about it, and how to formulate a plan of like, I need to learn about this, how do I do it? Because you don't just immediately go, what is the history of Rome, right? You can, fingers so weird, because that's exactly how people type on the computer, but like, there's a way that you have to think about it and learn about it, especially if you want to go in depth, but learning how to learn, basically. History, how to learn, math. We're gonna go to math next, because that's something that I struggle with. You're not gonna be a perfect math person, right? Especially if you're me. Now, you may be really, really good at math. Math is just logic. Math is just, it's a puzzle with numbers, right? Puzzle with numbers. That's algebra. Sorry. I'm getting my facts mixed up because I'm not an expert at things. Like algebra, and I don't take calculus, but I'm assuming calculus. Like, it is a puzzle with letters to figure out what numbers. It is logic. It is always the same. It does not change. 2 plus 2 is always 4. Unless that 2 is like a minus 2 or something, because then it's not 4. But it's always the same, and it teaches you logic, and it teaches you how to think. It teaches you how to understand, and it teaches you how to formulate, and it teaches you just logical connections of how to do things. There's not a lot of like in-depth, the Bible because of this, or not the Bible, oh my goodness, math because of this. I'm a Christian, you guys. Get over it. I'm so tired. As you can tell, it's not just because math, because it will teach you this, right? You may not use geometry in your everyday life when you're an adult, but are you learning every single day of your life as an adult? I almost guarantee it. It may not be super prominent. It may be something super silly. Like, I saw a video the other day of a lady who had been driving for like 20 years or something, and she just then figured out that there was a cruise control. She just figured out how to learn. She just figured out how to use her cruise control. Anyways, so like, you're always learning, no matter how silly it is, and you need to know how to think and how to logically put together conclusions. And math. We're gonna do English now. Reading, you need to know how to read. Grammar, English words, you need to know how to put them in a sentence. You need to know how to formulate them. I very strongly dislike grammar. Math, I don't hate math. I'm just not good at it. English, I very strongly dislike grammar. Very strongly. Literature's fine. Love reading. Grammar, I dislike it. Why do I have to put a word onto a diagram? Or a sentence onto a diagram, but the words on the different little leaflet things. I don't understand that. And I don't know if I ever technically will. Because when I was homeschooled, I basically just skipped over it in the book like every single time. And I had permission because I was homeschooled. Unless we go it over in school again, I will probably never know how to do this because I have no desire to learn. Because it doesn't really make sense to me. And that's the thing, is because like certain things won't make sense to you. Like, I used to not understand why we had to learn math, and then I had to ask somebody, and I was like, why the heck would you ever want to learn math when you know that you're not going to use geometry ever again? And like, I got the explanation that I just gave you, basically. I'm using my combined knowledge of answers of things. You guys are not watching anymore. I'm sorry, you guys. If you're still watching, comment, because I need to know how far you guys truly actually watch. And if you don't comment, I'm gonna be sad, because I totally wasted 30 minutes of my life. Technically, this is only on 20 minutes, but I've been down here for 30 minutes trying to remember words and talking and things. Grammar, you have to know how to speak. Now, this isn't just for English if you speak a different language, but you have to know how to use the words that you know, and if you know how to use them well, props to you. If you know big words, now, this isn't just like you need to know big words and be a thesaurus, but if you know big words and you know how to word words correctly, you can you can woo anybody, right? With the right words, you can change anybody's mind. Now, obviously, some minds don't need to be changed because some minds are correct. But it depends on what you're changing their mind of. But if you are good with words, it is very, very valuable. Now, usually that is seen as like super sneaky and sly and like a bad thing. But like if you're good with words, people respect smart people, and if you know how to get your point across smartly, you can even make yourself seem smarter than you are. Anyways, grammar. English, very important. I'm gonna go on to the literature part of that. You need to know how to read. You need to know not just how to read, but how to read a book, right? If you can't, and most teenagers now, and I know them personally, so I know this is true, they can't sit and read an article, let alone a chapter of a book, a whole book. It's unfathomable to them. They can't grasp the concept of sitting still for long enough to look at a page for long enough to insert that information to your brain. Anyways, so reading is very important. Not just to read, not just like reading nonfiction to learn things, or not just reading fiction to learn about this other story or something, just to learn how to read for long, extended periods of time, because sometimes you need to, especially if it's a long article, because there are articles that are really, really long. Sorry, I tried to say something else and then my brain didn't work. Like, there are some things that you're going to have to do in life, especially if you do go to college and especially whatever, like, you're going to have to read something really, really long, and if you can't sit still and read it, then that's going to be a problem. And a lot of people struggle with that, just as a general note, just especially the people that I know, like teenagers and stuff that I know, like my brother, he's a freshman, and he can't, like, I have given him multiple books that I loved reading when I was littler, and of course, this is a 1.5 year age difference, and like, he can't sit still for long enough. He can't do it. I'm gonna go to Spanish now. This doesn't just apply to Spanish. This applies to literally any other language. But first, I need to go to the bathroom. Okay, sorry. Okay, so spelling for France. Oh my goodness. Spanish, French. I can speak words. I know words. Sorry, I got off my topic. I went to the bathroom and then had a whole conversation with my sister. Anyways, any other language. That is so cool. You know, to be able to speak one language your entire life. And of course, I know that there's certain people and they're very, very gifted, and I'm very, 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 like, not necessarily, like, amazed, but I am very, impressed. That's what I was looking for. I'm very impressed by the people, that grew up, like, with multiple languages in their household, and so they had to know Spanish and English, and then they knew some other, like, like, when you know multiple languages, that's so cool to me. And as somebody who's learning Spanish at 15 and thinks that it's not very difficult, it's not super, super hard, but, like, it takes so much time to think about, and Spanish is, like the easy, not easy, but Spanish is, like, an easier language to learn, because, like, we use the same alphabet, and a lot of our words sound very similar, so, like, it's kind of weird how, like, difficult it is to learn, but, like, it's very, very cool that we can even physically have the opportunity to learn a second language, third language, a fourth language, and be able to do it after a lot of practice, but being able to do it fluently. 2 different fluent languages is just, like, crazy to me. So just even the opportunity, and of course a lot of that opportunity is just like Duolingo or something, but like just even having the opportunity to learn a different language is so cool to me, and I don't know why anybody like hates it. And obviously if you're in a school where you can pick which language, because I think my mom was able to pick if she took Spanish or French, and I think my uncle actually took Italian. So like it doesn't, like, if you can pick a language, obviously pick one that you're gonna be interested in, but like when you have to take that Spanish class or that language class, make the most of it. That's really cool to like be able to learn a whole nother language. That's really cool. Anyways, don't squander the time that you have to learn something for free. That's still history again. Sorry, I have something in my eyeball now. I'm not gonna do science because I don't have science, but obviously the study of living things is just really cool to learn about. Like, of course I'm going super Christian again, but just like how things work is such a very, very huge example of the vast power and exact precision and all-knowingness of God. Like, it's so crazy. Like, the smallest, tiniest things, and then the largest, massive things, like space. Like, they're so detailed and so intricate and so, like, perfected. Obviously, the humans in, like, Earth isn't perfect anymore because of, like, plants and things have thorns because they weren't supposed to, because of sin and stuff. So, like, obviously there are things that aren't perfect anymore, but even in that, like, if you take a rose, and I love doing this, especially when I had a couple friends when I was little that they didn't go to church or anything, and so I would, like, amaze them, because we had, like, rose bushes and stuff around our house, and the thorns, they snap off, like, really, really easy, and then when they come off, there's, like, the indentation of where they were, but, like, it's like they were never there, pretty much, and, like, they just snap off because they weren't originally part of the thing. And the snake, and I don't know if this is actually, like, true, I've never, like, seen x-rays or anything, but the snake has a place where it was supposed to have arms and legs, and that's really cool to me, because in the Bible, the serpent, he actually had arms, and, like, snakes had arms and legs. They were closer to lizards, but curses. Anywho. So, that is my rant. Oh, no, that is not my rant. That is not the end. That is an explanation. So when you take your class and you do your thing, I'm gonna, hold on. Sorry, that was gonna be gross. When you take your classes, college, high school, whatever, if you're out of school, like, don't squander the time you have of learnings, like, of your brain developing days to learn something new and to learn how to learn. Like, learning the material itself is really good to know. You should probably know how to do basic math when you're an adult. You should probably know what an adverb is when you're an adult. Knowing the material is important, but it is just as, if not more important, I'm sorry. My brain did not work. It is just as, if not less important, than knowing how to learn. Knowing how to learn information, knowing how to memorize something, knowing how to think about something correctly, how to understand something, how to look for answers, how to, like, I have friends that did not know a thesaurus was a thing, and that pains me, because my most vivid memories of, like, being a little kid was looking through a thesaurus, because I would write, when I would ask for something, I would write letters to my parents and then, like, slide it under their door. Even, like, they never had their door shut. It was literally only when Dad was changing, but I would, like, write letters and things, and use, like, if I use the word very something, I would, like, look through the thesaurus and try to find, like, a big word for it, and so I would use, like, it would just be, like, all big words except for the word, like, the and a, and it was hilarious. But I would slide it under the door, and I would think I was so smart, and they were gonna think I was, like, super a genius. Anyways, but like I know people that don't know what an encyclopedia is, which of course I've only used an encyclopedia like one time, but I know what it is and I know how to. Just because you don't have the need to learn something does not mean that you don't have to learn it or that you don't need to learn it. Like, it is very helpful to learn things. Like, I know how to make bread by recipe, not by heart yet. Am I always gonna make bread and never gonna buy bread? Probably not, unless I have a lot of free time as an adult. I'm going to buy bread instead of just making bread. So why would I learn how to make bread? Why would you learn how to crochet your own clothes if you're just gonna go buy clothes? Because you can, and it is expanding your brain, and it is, you have that knowledge now, and it's fun to say that you can know something. That wasn't as good as my other video that's not going to end up being posted because of interruptions and things, and I'm just getting interrupted now too, so this might not even be posted either. But like, it isn't as good as an explanation, and I feel like I'm rambling, and I'm also getting a headache, so I'm very tired and whatever. I also need to go eat something because I'm hungry. But like, learning is very, very important, and complaining about it, and okay, high school students, middle school students, listen to me because you guys are really, really annoying about this. Don't complain about everything. It is not helping you. It's not changing anything. I mean, maybe you have a nice teacher who's like, oh, you're complaining, I'll make it easy, you know. Maybe you have a nice teacher. I doubt all of your teachers are like that. But when you complain about every single assignment, every single homework, every single test, everything, whatever, you complain about every single guided notes, it's literally a piece of paper with words on it and one blank sentence. And you literally look up at the board or the screen. We use a screen usually. Every now and then he'll write it down. But you just look up at the screen and it literally says it on there, and then he asks if everybody has it on their guided notes 5 minutes later, and he's talking about, anyways, it's really, really easy. When you complain about literally every single thing, it is not helping you. It is not helping your teacher, and it is not helping those around you. Like, I'm very, very positive that your feedback may be important to your teacher. It may help your teacher sometimes, but when you complain about literally every single assignment, and there is genuinely something like massive that the people that don't usually complain about, or they're like, oh my goodness, this is due Friday, and this is like 3 weeks worth of like homework, like what was happening right now, and I try to say something about it. When I try to tell my teacher personally, they don't listen. The boy who cried wolf, man. Like, if you complain about every single thing and you treat every single thing like the most urgent, horrible assignment ever, obviously when there is a horrible assignment, you are going to have to, your complaining is not going to be heard because you complain all the time. So, complaining does not help you. The boy who cried wolf. The complaining is not helping your teacher. Your teacher, unless she's like, or he, I guess, unless the teacher is like extremely new at this and does not know what they're doing, they've done this before. They've probably done the same lesson that they're teaching you. They've done it before, right? Like my teachers, almost every single one of my teachers is teaching you exactly what they taught last year. Maybe not exactly, but they are teaching the same subject that they taught last year. They're teaching pretty much the same content that they were teaching last year. Like, it does not help. It does not help them by you complaining all the time, especially when they have, unless you're their only class, and my class, my biggest class, it's like, I think it's 20. I think there's 20, which of course is a small school, but like freshmen and sophomores. I think there's 20 of us. But like, when she has, or he, I keep saying she because most of my teachers are she's, unless she, like, doesn't have any other classes, and you're a small class, like, she has so many people telling her all at once what to do. You're telling her what's super harsh. Your parents are going to tell her because you're going to complain to your parents. The other teachers are going to give her crap or something. I've heard stories about principals getting onto, like, teachers and stuff, and, like, there's just so much information that they have to give out while also being slammed with opinions. Be nice to your teachers, guys. That got kind of wild, and I don't know if that made sense. Also, it doesn't help your peers. Trust me, I don't like it when you complain about everything. Okay? And I personally may not be your peer. Would love to, I think. Unless you're super complaining. But, like, when you complain about literally everything. My table partner moved. I have my own table now, so I use him as an example because he used to complain all the time. It's fine. I know him personally. He's like a friend of mine, so I can complain about him. But when you complain about every single thing, it's very annoying. When you interrupt class, it's very annoying for those who are actually interested in what you're learning. Like, we're learning about the Reformation. I've talked about this. When we're learning about the Reformation, like, I'm genuinely interested, and when you bring up a football player or basketball player or something that happened in the past, or, well, that's history. When you bring up, like, the news or something, or politics or something, or Elon Musk or something, because that's a very common subject, like, it's very, very obnoxious, and it's hard for me to jump back into learning about the Reformation after zoning out for 20 minutes listening to you guys argue about something. So, like, unless... It's hard to say, because there are some times that, like, teachers are just genuinely... They're just not good teachers, and whatever. But, like, don't... It's just a general good rule to not interrupt class, to be respectful to your teacher and your peers, to not go on some side trail that has zero something to do with the class, especially if somebody else had their hand raised. Gosh dang it, if multiple people have their hand raised and one person raises his hand, table partner, and he goes off on some wild side trail, all the other hands go down. They had questions. And a lot of these people, and I'm very, very bad about asking questions. Like, if I don't understand something, I don't really know how to formulate questions, which is something that I'm trying to work on. And there's a lot of people around me that know how to ask good questions, and they always get, like, drowned out because somebody is talking about something else, or somebody is cracking a joke or something. And there are certain classes, and there are certain times, and there is a time and place for jokes. I'm not against jokes. I think jokes are funny sometimes if they're funny. But when there's also a very important, more important time and place for work and learning. Anyways, so complaining is not helpful to yourself. You are hurting your education. Don't spend all of your 4 years in high school, hopefully it's just 4, don't spend all of your 4 years in high school complaining about it, because you are wasting that time that you have of good, people say good years, of that time, it's time, I'm not going to put an adjective there, don't waste that time complaining, because you're probably, I mean, you may not regret it, a lot of people don't regret it, but I would totally regret it. If you're taking all of that time that you had in the same building with these people, and getting to know these people, and getting to know friends, and having friends, maybe even having people that you disagree with, I'm not going to say enemies, because I don't really think that you should have, like, any technical, I don't really think that you can have an enemy, well, at least at my school, like, a dedicated enemy, because everybody's kind of just, they're not, like, mean, but if they are mean, they're just passive, but, like, don't waste all that time that you had with these people to engage with these people and help learn with these people, and these people help you, and just pouring into each other. Sorry, that's Christianese. And encouraging each other. Like, don't waste that time complaining, because nobody wants to hang out with somebody that just complains nonstop. Of course, I'm making a 40-minute video about complaining, but we don't talk about that. Like, it doesn't help your teachers. Teachers have it hard. Get over it. And it does not help your peers. Obviously, you don't need to be selfish, but you do need to take care of yourself. But when it comes to learning, if you're not prepared for a test and you want to get the teacher on some side rail or something, that may be good for you, but everybody else in there, depending on the subject, might actually be interested in this test or this quiz or this homework or whatever, and might actually genuinely want to do it. And obviously, if on the opposite side of that spectrum, if you if you know that everybody hates it and you're literally the only person in class that hates it, don't remind them of homework, please. Don't be that person. Especially on a long day. Like, if you can tell that people have had a long day, don't ask about homework. Just don't do it. Okay. Thank you guys for watching. If you watched this 40-minute video, oh my goodness, I'm sorry. Comment if you watched the whole thing. Fox Sparrow Sparrow. I never remember your username. I'm so sorry. Comment, because you better have watched. Otherwise, I'm very disappointed. I need to go check the video from today. This will be posted Tuesday. No, today is Tuesday. This will be posted Thursday. It's recorded on Tuesday. Yeah. Let me know what you think. If you have any topics of something that you genuinely, like, very, very much dislike, comment it down below, and I will see if I dislike it. And if I also too dislike it, I will make a video on it maybe someday. Probably soon, because I need content ideas. Because I haven't had the time to make shorts and stuff. Of course, I have 41 minutes to waste talking about learning. Time that I was supposed to be doing homework. But this was a good cause. If you like this video and you want to see more content like it, you can subscribe, because I might make more videos like this. Most of my content isn't like this. So if you like it, you gotta like, so I know to make more. If you very much disliked it, tell me, so I will never make any of these ever again. Anyways, yeah, if you want to comment. If you want to like, if you want to subscribe. Why would you do that? Do it. Yeah, I love you. Thank you for being here. Sorry for the clapping. I love you. Thank you for being here. Remember, never forget, Jesus loves you. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.